Jumping in here to let you all know that my commissions are open, so if you want an angel kill illustration, now is your chance. We can dominate the world with these silly, stupid chibis. Now, let's get back into the video. Hello, how are you? So this is going to be a bit of a weird video, okay? Because I have something in mind. Just follow me, okay? You know when you get recommended like these bases on Pinterest that artists make, whether it be for your character here that they're selling or for free use sometimes as well. Really depends on what it is. Sometimes stolen as well, right? Then you never know where it came from. But like you get these bases, right? You go on Pinterest and you get recommended these bases for illustrations between two characters, they're interacting, or it's just an interesting concept. So I've been wondering, do these things actually work? Like, how do they work? How is it? What is it like? What is going on? Just how do you even use them? So I decided to try it out, right? And at the same time decided to do your character here as well, so that I can, I don't know, draw it again. Just follow me, okay? Valentine's Day is coming up, and a lot of couple images have been getting recommended to me. So I, got hit with inspiration. If inspiration strikes you and follows you around, you decide to use that. So I made myself a reference sheet, well, two. And I mixed some things up and went straight to work. I made myself a little concept in my head, so I decided to do that on my canvas. I actually tried out a few concepts in my sketchbook, a few too, but I just tried to get the pose right, get the feeling for it, and at first it wasn't really working. But then when I went onto my canvas here on Krita, things just sort of came together, so I guess that's good, I guess. For this year character here, I decided to do 3 different couple versions. Female x male, male x male, female x female, just the usual stuff, right? So that we have a bit of variation. And 2 different concept options. I guess I should talk about the concept, huh? Up until now, I showed you the references and told you that I tried it out on my sketchbook, in my sketchbook, not on it. But I never actually told you what it is, so I got a lot of kissing poses in fields and nature and some different ones with objects either in between the couple or in the front of the couple. So my brain remembered this one scene in the Cat with Boots movie where he kisses the other cat behind his hat. Okay. And I saw those images where they were kissing with flowers in the front or kissing with an apple in between them. So my brain just went straight to laying in the field kissing behind a flower. Okay. Thank you, Cats with Boots movie. I chose the red rose and gardenia, well, white gardenia specifically, for their meaning related to love, passion, and innocence. A lot of times I like using flowers for either lore-related stuff or metaphors or their concepts. Just I like using the meaning of flowers, right? I find it also very interesting the way back in the day, well, I don't know what to say. The way back in the day people used flowers for certain meanings. And another thing you will see me doing here is matte painting, which I haven't done in a while. And I don't think that a lot of you might even know what this is. Last year I made a video showing all the ways in which I do backgrounds, and this was one of them. But I think that I have a lot of new people here, so I can talk about this again. So matte painting consists of stealing parts of pictures, whether it be your own or free to use, to build up a scene. Sometimes people paint over certain parts to make them match better or solely use certain parts as texture. It really depends on what you're trying to achieve with it. This technique is used a lot for concept art in filmmaking, or at least that's what I've seen people use it for and what I've read upon it. I found out about this technique years and years ago when YouTube recommended me a video of someone painting a castle scene that looked ultra realistic and rendered. So I clicked on that video, of course, to try and figure out, like, whoa, how did this person do that, right? Because to me, that's amazing. It looked like extremely realistic, but it was supposedly a painting. And in that video, the person used parts of pictures, and I was shocked at the time with the fact that that was possible. How is it possible for people to use pictures like that? If you didn't know, I was very dumb back in the day, okay? I mentioned that in my folder series as well. I didn't even know art was a thing, like people were illustrators. I just sort of thought images appeared randomly, like they were part of a show or something that were put online. Not that I'm not dumb now, right? And like, please, but I was different from society, and nowadays I'm different from society, but in a different way. And well, after seeing that video a year or so later, after me watching that, a bunch of artists I followed started using that same technique as well. So I was like, oh, right, I should try that. So I decided to try it too, and it definitely turned to one of my favorite techniques. I still use it all the time. Also because I'm lazy to draw things. Like, I don't need that feeling of fulfillment of knowing that, oh, I drew these backgrounds with my bare hands. Because I've done that in the past, I know I can do it, but it takes so much more effort than doing matte painting. At least for me, I just find it a lot easier and more practical, and it is a technique used by professionals. It is not cheating. Honestly, cheating is such a stupid concept in art. It makes absolutely no sense. Why would you limit yourself in that way instead of using creativity to create something new that is more practical, right? It makes no sense. Why would people complain about that? But yeah, I always use free-to-use pictures for these from two different websites, Pexels and Pixabay. And honestly, I've been getting a really strong urge to experiment more with it lately, not just for backgrounds, but also for characters and whatnot. I've seen that in the past as well, and I really want to try that as well. So after making my base and my basic backgrounds, I decided to put my base to use. I chose Selena and Jealous. Right. Something tells me Yamato is right. I draw the same characters all the time and never change. And honestly, I just wanted to draw Jellyfican, okay? I love my main man. I need to draw him. It has been too long. It must have been like 2 weeks. That's too much time. And then I started painting over the base, as you can see here, I guess. It was honestly a really interesting experience because I'm not used to breaking my usual drawing routine like this. So it was nice getting out of my comfort zone like that, right? It's a different way of drawing. I tried some new things out. I got out of my comfort zone. Very nice things, right? Plus, this whole thing was just very painterly and freeing in a sense, so that's nice. It's always a plus to feel free and well, or something, I don't know. So now, to get a bit out of topic for a bit, later I'll get back to the whole base thing. But now I just want to talk about my life, I guess, I don't know. Lately, I don't know what happened to me, but I've been feeling extremely tired, and I need to know if other people are feeling this too. I like blaming the moon. Usually during a gibbous moon and a new moon, I get tired like this, so I just pretend that that's why. I know that it's not art block. I haven't had art block in 2 years, but that's by force, since I'm trying to make illustration my job, so the grind never ends, right? But lately I've just been feeling extremely tired. Like, extremely tired physically, to the point that I almost fall asleep while standing. Plus, another plus, right? There's something going on with my back that makes me feel like I'm going to snap in half at any moment. But I just pretend that that's going to get better at some point, even though it never does, and it never has. So I'll just play pretend, I guess. But yeah, I'm pushing through despite the exhaustion I feel. I just want to know, is anyone else feeling that too? I know that a few people that my mom knows also have had this happen to them lately, so I guess it's a thing. But yeah, getting back to the drawing now, right? The whole thing about if bases work or not, I guess they do. It's just a different process than what I usually do, so it feels a bit weird, but if you get used to it, I guess it's fine and it's easy. It's nice getting out of my comfort zone like that, with like not doing things the same way I always do, which is sketch, then line art, and base colors, then multiply, layer, overlay, render, that sort of stuff. Still follows that thing, I guess, in a sense, but I don't do the line art part exactly the same. Since there is a base, there is bald people underneath, so I have to do like a different line art for different parts of the body that will go over that, and it's just a different process overall, and it's interesting, I guess. I don't know, it was interesting to say the least. Do I like it more than my usual stuff? I wouldn't say so, but it doesn't bother me, I guess. So after putting down all the base rendering, right, I decided to detail it just a little bit more because I wasn't feeling very satisfied over all of this. There were things missing. It just wasn't hitting the way that I wanted it to hit, I guess. So I was like, well, I'll just add a little bit more detail here and there just to see how it makes me feel. Not trying to go overboard with it because that never works out. I already know that. So after I put down the base rendering, I added like the effect of the environment impacting the characters just a little bit more, just to see maybe that was the issue of it looking unfinished to my eye. Plus, I decided to go back to a clothing type thing of shading that I used to do back in the day, which was a transparent brush to add folds and shading overall, as if the fabric was getting impacted, but not in that pulled way. Usually I tend to render more so the pull of the fabric than the shading overall. Like fabrics, they aren't just straight or they aren't just folded in a pull manner. There's more to it, so I decided to go back to that. I stopped for some reason. I don't even know why, honestly. I don't know what happened to me for me to stop doing... that was my hand. For me to stop doing that. Dude, what is happening in this recording? I don't even know. But I knew that at the end I would add like more textures on top of the drawing overall, which would make the whole drawing seem more detailed than it actually is, like I usually do. But in this case, I actually use textured images for that. I like the look of it. I love textures, they always save my life, right? Plus adding the rose crown off camera too, for Selena, because you know me, I love doing stuff fucking off camera. I don't like showing my folders, okay? I don't know what I have there of compromising, and don't question that, okay? Don't question it. I also added the hair strands that I always do. Just adding hair strands gives every single drawing just more of a finished look. I look, hair strands, they are a lifesaver. I recommend hair strands. That's a weird phrase to say. I recommend hair strands to every single person out there who wants to make their drawings look more detailed. Like loose strands that isn't part of the overall structure of the hair that you drew out at the beginning and lined and whatnot. I also paint over those just to add more of a gradient effect to make all of the hair strands match more with the overall drawing. And then I use the stroke layer mode for this, but I also add some without the stroke layer mode just to give more of a variation in that case. And then we are done with the drawing, I guess. I like how it turned out. I think it's cute, it's sweet. I guess, I don't know, I like it overall. If you want your own kissing behind a flower, you can find it on my VGen, as always. You can choose between the two flowers too, which one suits you better, passion or innocent love. I don't know, these are just very sweet. So I hope you have a nice day and night. My overall verdict is it works, I guess. Do I like it more? Not really, but it's fine. I hope you have a nice day and night, as I said, and I hope to see you next time. Right? Bye!